Hello YouTube, my name is Gangov and I'm back with another interview video. Today I interviewed online duos. We're talking a little bit about internet safety in this, but mostly what does it take to be a duo? No. So if you want to hear different duos' opinions on internet safety, making friends, and maintaining online friendships, this is the video for you. Please enjoy. How did you meet?
Minecraft. Right? I think
Oh,
that's
yeah,
right. Minecraft.
To be
Straight to the
fair,
point.
it was Minecraft. I don't remember the server we were on.
So do not talk about server.
Yeah, a whole big thing. We're not going to talk about it, but we met there.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Yeah.
we'll, I don't know, maybe we'll talk about it.
It was, ironically, it was in a server interview call. That
No,
was like
that's
when we
so
first.
funny it is.
It was a
We-
server interview call.
Full circle.
Yeah. So, no joke. So we met each other in this call. It was like 4 of us and the server owner.
Mhm.
And for some fucking reason, me and Rat like clicked in that call.
Yep.
And we're like, you know what? We're best friends now. We're gonna have soft tacos later. I think we started talking late 2020.
Yeah, that checks out. Because I remember getting a job in 2020, and the first thing I ever did was like buy a computer and a tablet.
Yeah, because I was on a laptop at the time, and I bought my computer in 2020. And I was waiting to get on the server with my computer, which is what I currently have.
Yeah.
And
That's
the server never
so
launched.
funny.
So I bought a computer for a server that I never played on.
Hey, it worked out. It worked
No
out.
kidding.
You have a great explanation for this one, though.
Do I add the joke with it that I made towards you?
You can. There's 2 jokes in there.
So what really happened was it was about 2.5 years ago we met. It was in an SMP called Horizon SMP that is now no longer happening.
R.I.P.
But rest in peace. But it was an SMP called Horizon SMP, and during like the first month of it, our friend introduced us together, and I'm like, okay, she's chill. And so I just started dropping these dark jokes to see if we were on the same level. So like the first one, it was okay. It's Dream SMP lore. Rambo died. Big thing. So it's like, dude, did you see Rambo died? And I'm like, thank God. And so just to like see if she would like agree or something, I want to preface was sad during he died before anyone comes after me from. And then the next one was, I think it was just at 5 a.m. we were talking.
It was late at
It
night.
was very late. And so we were just talking, yapping, and she just started talking about her dog, and she goes, dude, my dog's so spoiled. I'm like, oh my God, my dog's dead.
And that was Danny and I's first night in a VC by ourselves, by the way.
And that's what solidified our friendship.
Yeah, and from there it's just chaos and everything that follows with it.
Yeah. From there, the same vibe continued.
Yes.
This is from my perspective, how we met.
Okay, perfect.
In 2020, it was like, I think it was December of 2020, possibly.
Probably.
That sounds about right.
It could be anything.
It was about 3 to 4 months after I had started streaming. I started an SMP with a few of my friends called SMP Rogue. Shout out, doesn't exist anymore. Blown to bits.
Blown to bits, smithereens.
One of the other owners asked me how I felt inviting somebody they had interacted with. I think they had popped into Arid's stream and was like, you sound like that you'd really like this person, like you sound like you'd get along. So I said, yeah, you can invite him, that's fine. And they messaged on Twitch and they invited Arid to my SMP. And then yada yada, we called on Discord for 6,000 hours, yada yada, it was all downhill from there.
Long story short, we called for 6 months, and now we can't stand each other. Sworn enemies.
It's like when you play a song you like too many times in a row. Damn.
Yeah, that's why I hate this guy now.
Yeah,
I
we
heard
can't...
his voice for 6,000 hours straight.
Let me, from my perspective, how we met, because it's a little more skewed and a little more on par with how my mind works. Okay, so I was streaming Bed Wars as I do, or as anyone did, I think in 2020. I got this live notification from some guy I don't even remember following, who ended up being someone on SMP Rogue, but I saw his go live notification and I thought his name was fucking stupid. So I was like, just to my chat, it's like it was like two reviewers and one of them was me. I was like, who would name themselves? I'm not gonna say his username. But I'm just like, who would name themselves this guy? That's fucking stupid. And then I got a Twitch Whisper, but they had messaged me on Twitch Whispers and went, "Hey, that was that was my friend. Do you want to join our Minecraft server?" And I went, "Oh, I mean, yeah, absolutely." Because like, where else are you gonna get an invite to an SMP as a small streamer? Like, I was invited. And I didn't really know these people. The first time we were all on the server together and like in a call where I was supposed to be meeting all these people, Major included, I was completely just did not know who I was supposed to be paying attention to. I didn't know that Major owned the server. I literally didn't know anybody. I thought they were the owner because they had invited me. But my first actual, I think, meeting with Major where I registered like, oh, this is Major Skane's mate. It was on the server maybe somewhere within the week. After that, it was like our first stream on. Everyone had run in different directions to kind of build their house, and I had asked 2 people prior, I don't even remember. I had asked 2 people prior if I could just go follow them, because they were the 2 people that had spoken to me initially, and they were like, sure, okay. And in my efforts to follow them, I passed Major, and I was like, ooh, you know what would be a great idea if I just gave this guy a flower? Would be perfect. So I picked a poppy from nearby and I dropped it in front of him, gave him the good old like thrice over crouch, and I ran to go back to follow those people. Didn't see the edge of it was probably only a hill. It felt like a mountain because I died.
I forgot this happened.
And Major, a valiant soul, stood by my stuff, I believe, when I went to go grab it, and then as I went to go pick up my stuff, he in turn handed me a flower, and I thought it was very sweet. And that was I don't remember what happened after that. Very sweet. And that was I don't remember what happened after that.
I know that after that I joined your stream and like gifted you subs because you have the
oh my
clip
God.
still on your Twitch of you going, Major Skane's mate.
Major Skates me. I have it on my TikTok too. It's very jarring.
It's traumatizing, but it is super funny.
It's adorable, very wholesome.
That's a great meeting story, though. I also like how you two had different perspectives of it.
Which is that cool.
Could you talk about the call?
Oh yeah.
I was hoping.
I think what had happened was we were in a call on the in the Discord server for SMP Rogue, and then we both. One thing you'll get to know about me and Arid is that we are both very good at talking shit.
Oh yeah,
we love talking shit about things that don't even matter anymore as well.
We bonded over our hatred for.
I think we were also streaming, or like you were streaming. One of us was streaming, and you had mentioned something that you had wanted to talk shit about. So for fear of anybody joining because we were talking shit, we started a private call. When it ended, I think like one of us had fallen asleep at our desk, or like we just went to bed without ending the call. Probably you. And we went to sleep without ending the call, so we just like stayed on that call. And then we were like, well, how long can we get this call to go? So we went 24 hours, and then we went 48 hours. We went for a minute. It was a few days that this first call lasted. And we literally did not talk to anybody else on Discord. Like all my friends on Discord, we did not talk to them for days because of this call. It was like a bit at that point, right? And then we were like, I wonder how long we could do this for. And we figured out like some workarounds. I think Arid figured them out. The workarounds to be able to join other calls while also having our call going. And then it just kept going.
Only at the cost of my phone's battery health, which by the end of our at that point 6,000 hour call, my phone could not hold a charge for longer than 3 hours. Because it was just on Discord all the time. They've since patched, I believe, both of these things. What I had discovered that you could do at the time, in good old 2021 probably, is that you could be on 2 separate calls at once, as long as only one of them was not Dungeon Master, direct message, other DM. As long as only one of them was in a direct message, and then at least one of them was in a server, and it could only be if one of the devices was mobile and the other one was a computer.
This call also it lasted through. It was about 6 months, I think, is how
Yeah.
long it was. It might have, give or take.
Yeah.
It lasted through me getting kicked out of my house,
It-
moving across the state. Like all of this real life shit happened, and I was just on Discord with this motherfucker
That's
for
ooh.
6,000 hours.
Oh yeah. Fun fact, I want to have this on record in a YouTube video. Me and Major Skane's mate, we don't, it's not official, we haven't sent it into anybody, obviously. But we hold the unofficial world record for longest Discord call between two people. Believe that.
It was through a
Um,
mutual friend.
Yeah. Yeah, Moon.
I guess our friendship didn't really start to like insiders.
Yeah, when I joined up on Insiders, I like nervously messaged you that it was like, "Hey, was it okay that I did this thing in character? I'm really sorry if it wasn't." I think that's how we actually started talking.
And just evolved. And then folktale
Yeah.
to a kaboom.
Oh god, Folktale is so silly. I love this guy. This guy's so fun.
Rest is history.
The rest is history, yeah.
The rest is history.
Oh god, so much history.
There's a server called Time Steel SMP that it was
God forbid it.
God forbid it. It's dead in the water now, but at the time it was transitioning to be more of a friend server than a like content server, I think.
Mhm.
I ended up getting invited to it, and Void is one of the owners.
I was
Yeah,
one of the
one
owners, yeah.
one of the owners, and we met through there on both of our first days, I think.
We'd met before that.
Really?
Yeah. We initially first talked in May, in the Discord for the server,
Oh.
and then we became friends and like DM'd each other and stuff. But we didn't actually talk in a call or like properly do anything together until like 2 months later on the actual server.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Minecraft gimmick SMP, stinky. That's how we met.
Do you think you would have been friends if you went to the same high school?
My opinion, no.
Maybe. No. Yeah, I was like sitting here. My initial answer was no. I was a weird
Yeah.
kid. No.
Like, explain how you were in high school, and I'll tell you why.
So
Were you a Pokemon player in high school?
I wasn't. That was my middle
Okay,
school days,
good.
so we don't talk about that. But I was just really weird. Like socially, like extremely socially awkward. Like imagine socially awkward, but like talks to everyone
So
with no filter.
I was heavily in band in a lot of sports. So I knew everybody, but nobody. No, sorry. I knew everybody and everybody knew me, but I was not friends with all of those people. The people that I was friends with like helped me through shit in high school. And I just feel like me and Rat on a personal level wouldn't have been friends.
No, I usually like friend wise, I pretty much kept to myself. Like I was very outgoing and like talkative and kind of rude, if I'm gonna be honest. But
Me too. I hated myself.
I can't tell you a single person that I made friends with in high school, if I'm gonna be honest.
I feel like if I met myself in high school, I would want to punch myself in the face. And respectfully, Rat, I feel like we were very similar as a person. Like
Yeah.
personality wise, not necessarily hobby wise.
Okay, so yeah, you don't think you would have been friends in high school. It was
Not at all, in my
No.
opinion.
I low-key think that we would, in a way.
You say it first and I'll explain mine.
Okay, well, I feel like Danny and I have similar kind of interests, so I could see us being friends at school. I don't know if we would have been like as close as we are in high school, because I feel like we both said we were very different in high school. But I feel like we would have vibed. I feel like we definitely would have.
For me, I don't think we would, just because of we were so different in high school. But to be fair, I only really got experience 2 years of high school, but I was hit with COVID junior year.
That is
And
true. You
so-
are younger than me.
Yeah, you are an elder. But yeah, it was that I only got experience 2 years of high school, and I hardly spoke in high school at all. So I don't think we would, but I think definitely like I would be fine with like partnering with Sid for a project.
I was a theater kid, so I was just always in the theater room. I figured Danny would eventually have found their way over there.
supposed to do theater and like be a techie until COVID hit.
So yes, in a way, we could have been friends then. We would have been theater friends.
But that's if COVID didn't hit.
Yeah, that's fair though. I think it's interesting that one of you said yes, the other said no.
Okay. Okay. Sid said no at the end of hers. Sid said no everywhere. Let me just make that clear.
That's fair.
I I did some heavy thinking about this one because for me at least specifically, I really didn't. My friend group in high school were the friends I made in elementary and middle school. But then I was thinking in that sense, like, unless we were put in a group project together and were able to keep in contact after that, like, I don't think we would have been friends. But then I got to thinking, actually I did make friends in high school. That's a sad way to phrase it, but I did because of the Dungeons & Dragons Club, which I firmly believe my personal high school Major Scanes made headcanon is that he would have been part of that club and then we would have played at the same table and been best friends that way.
Absolutely.
So I do think we would have been friends in high school.
I would have joined the D&D club for sure.
Would you have joined my table?
I don't know. Yeah, probably. I also think we would have been friends in high school. I have on my little answer sheet here, I said we're incredibly similar, even despite the fact that we've been friends for years and we are almost the same person now.
True. We were the same person in the beginning.
We were very, like, when that person who introduced us said that, like, you and this guy will get along, like, absolutely. We started like gasoline and a match. Like, it was
like a house on fire.
We are absolutely extremely similar. I also put on here, I think we're the same genre of strange and uncanny. So I feel like even if I didn't join the D&D club, we would have found each other because we would be like the only two people who elected to like to not do something that is absolutely required to have done in high school.
Oh, for sure.
No, I do not.
I have no fucking clue.
Probably not. I don't tend to stick out of my group when I do make friends IRL, so unless Ori did know somebody at my school, we probably would not have been friends.
Okay, so sort of similar to how you met online, if you'd had a mutual friend who vouched for one another.
Yeah.
Yeah, though I'm a very social person outside of the internet, so there's a slight chance that if we did go to the same high school, I would have ended up just talking to you anyways.
Oh god, I don't talk to people that I don't know, so that's fun.
That's something nice about the internet and SMPs. You sort of get not forced into it, but it's a zone where people expect you to talk to them, so it's less scary.
Yeah. School for me is more of an education kind of place, so
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Supposedly, yeah.
I think so. 100%.
100%.
Like, the first thing we talked about ever was we liked the same anime. Like, even though we'd known each other through a Minecraft SMP, we didn't talk about that for months. We just talked about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, I think we definitely share a lot of the same interests and fixations and whatnot.
I think we definitely would have gone to like the same club or been doing the same thing.
100%.
We would have known the same people. We would have been introduced to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, since you two live together, you already know that in person, everything's fine. Everything works.
Oh, yeah, no, like Alex has been living with me for, I think, like 5 months now.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of time together and we're very close. We know each other's, like, habits and I mean, you know, you gotta be compatible with someone if you could live with them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think definitely if we met in person, like, we probably would have become like, I mean, we became close quick, but I think we would have become close even quicker if we met in person.
So you two have a more unique perspective on that, being an online duo and in real life.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's very funny because we both try and do our own content separately, but
we share a bedroom.
We share a bedroom, and like at the end of the day, I feel like we end up being in each other's stuff more often than not.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard not to be when you live in a small ass room in Britain together, and like every time you speak, you get picked up on the other person's microphone.
I literally sit in the corner on top of my clothes.
I mean, it's funny because like even before Alex moved in, like when she was originally in America for education reasons, and I went and met her there in America in person as well before she moved into England with me.
What advice do you have for maintaining online friendships, especially over a long distance?
Don't be afraid of space.
Yeah, no kidding. I feel like I know a lot about Rhett as a person. I know a fuck ton about. We've met each other in person. Rhett came to my wedding. But I feel like I know Rhett so much as a person that if we talked every day, every hour of the day, text each other, called each Rhett, there have been times. There have been times whenever we talked a lot, especially early on, where I was just like, I don't know if I want to continue talking to this person. I'm gonna be fully fucking honest with you.
That's so fair.
I'm gonna be fully fucking honest with you. Probably about like 3 years ago, there was a point where I was just like, I just kind of want to unfriend Rhett and just leave him alone. It was a really
so fair.
It was really, really bad. I was just like, I'm not gonna do that. That's really fucked up.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, I feel like it's the talking too much divides. It's like that one saying, distance makes the heart grow fonder. Which I know it's used in like actual relationships a lot, but like I feel like friendships are the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Talking too much leads to distance more than distance does itself, like physically.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because it's like if you constantly like message each other throughout the day, send each other like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I went there, I went here, then when you actually hang out, it's like, what the hell are we supposed to talk about?
I mean,
I already know everything.
Romantic relationships are the exact same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah.
It's awful. The reason why at one point I did want to unfriend Rat and just kind of like drop our friendship, and I know Rat will probably understand as soon as I say it, they would send me random ass fucking text messages all the time. It would be like just random, the most random things. I have a quote book of shit Rat has said to me. Sorry for my language, but of just random things Rat has said to me over our time.
I know this.
A lot of this is from those times where I'm just like, I don't know that I want to be friends with
Kangov, I was so bad. Listen, I would send them paragraphs at a time.
Back to back
and split into single sentences, just like bam, 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 at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Big pet peeve of mine, by the way. Hate when people do that.
That's another thing, though. You two are clearly very honest with each other.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like important.
I have told Rat in a VC, like we've been talking for a little bit, and she's like, you know what? I'm just kind of done talking. Gonna go.
And I'd be like, okay, good night.
We are brutally honest with each other.
Yeah, it also helps that we like are able to listen to each other, because honesty only works if the person you're being honest with is willing to listen and like
absolutely
understand. So I think that's also very important, is that like you listen and you actually think about like what they're saying, how they might be feeling. So it's a lot of that empathy, I think.
Not being able to communicate definitely strains a friendship, because we do talk about how we're feeling in a moment. Even like the personal stuff that me and Rat talk to each other about, like I feel like that brings us closer, especially whenever we don't again talk every day.
Well,
It's like, oh, it's been like a week, or it's been 3 weeks. Like there have been like long times where we haven't talked to each other.
There was one really long time where I was a little concerned. I was like, uh-oh.
Are we still friends?
I need to say something. Yeah, I was like, uh-oh.
But there have been those times that we get on a call and be like, hey, can we talk for a little bit, or do we mind VCing? And like we talk, we would just spill our guts to each other.
But yeah, I can't even count on my hands or toes how many times where we've just been in the do you laugh? I'm gonna start laughing. I've already set myself off.
The amount of times we have sat in a VC and just either watched like anime together. We did that quite often before they decided to join my anime account. We have sat and watched anime together. They've played or they've drawn and I've played games, or vice versa, or I've watched an anime and they were drawing. Like just a comfortable silence is really nice with a friendship.
I think
Definitely.
we used to get to the point where we would like jump scare each other when we would say something, be like, "Oh my god, I forgot we were in VC."
Yeah, that happened a lot, especially from you because you tick or you have ticks.
Oh yeah.
And
Mhm.
like you would randomly tick out of nowhere, and I'd just be like, "What the fuck was that?"
Oh yeah.
Whenever they came down for my wedding,
Oh,
I
God.
was driving them from the airport, and they go, "Hey, by the way, I do sometimes scream in the car randomly. It's one of my ticks." And I go, "Excuse me? What?" They go, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I was like, "What kind of scream? Like a guttural scream? Are you going to just randomly go, ah?" Or like, what's gonna happen? They go, "No, it's like full guttural."
Yeah, I was like, I forgot to mention this, but when I'm in the car, and only when I'm in the car, I
We
have
were
this specific
20
tick.
minutes from the airport, and they go, "Hey, by the way,"
Late to tell her.
Yeah.
a little late to prepare me for that. Luckily, it never happened.
Communication, and like you don't have to spend every waking second together. Just like checking in every once in a while. I think really just communication. Like trying to make time to at least talk to each other or hang out every once in a while.
I would definitely say communication as well. It's just like when someone does something to upset you, you just kind of be like, "Hey, can we talk real quick?" I think that's most important when containing any friendship at all, especially ones online. It's just communication. I mean, also if you kind of want to be close with the person, just do like projects together. Like I know I was a part of Cersei with Sid, and I helped her with her projects. And yeah, mainly that. Also, if y'all have each other's numbers, be prepared to be asked if you want to follow them on Snapchat all the time.
Oh yeah, I get Danny on Snapchat all the time.
For your first and last name to be known immediately.
Yeah, I look at it and I'm like, that is Danny, and I know that is Danny.
It just got to the point where I just started deleting Snapchat.
Yeah, you have to do a certain amount of looking the other way and forgetting things when you're online friends.
Yes.
Like, yeah, I don't know your last name. What? The town you live in? Never heard of it. The point about communication being extra important when someone does something that bothers you, like Danny said, I think that's super important in online friendships because you don't necessarily get to see the physical cues, the body language, if that happened in person, you know? So
yeah,
communicating those feelings is so important. I agree.
Exactly, yeah. I feel like if you're not talking as friends or not communicating the good, the bad, everything in between, you don't really have much to go off of.
All about the communication for sure.
If it was like offline and face to face, I would say if Sid goes to TwitchCon October, it's like I would probably find myself gravitating towards Sid in like a public situation, just because I know that's a safe space.
Have you two ever met in person?
No, we've talked about it before. But
I did
we've never
technically
actually
say that I would come visit Danny once they hit 1K.
You did. I didn't want to be the one bringing that up.
Listen, times are tough for Canadians right now. It's a little harder now.
Yeah, I feel that.
Trust this TwitchCon. Trust.
One day they'll do a Canadian TwitchCon. One day.
Maybe the biggest difference between an online friendship and maybe a more local one is the fact that you guys are coming from entirely different worlds, basically. Whereas real life friendship, not real life, but like in-person friendships, you are sort of localized to each other, like friends in high school. You're kind of joined by these shared experiences in your adolescence. You either like have the same or similar peers, same or similar teachers, same workload, same any of that. But with an online friendship, anything you have in common is sheer coincidence. To be able to sort of maintain a friendship like that, coming from like basically strangers, but also like you're also in a sense growing as strangers because you have in a healthy ratio, you have the growth that you have, like the experiences that you have in your real life, and then you have your online one. You can't really include an online friend in some real life stuff. You can tell them about it, but they can only be part of it so much, and in turn they kind of also experience things in their real lives. And so what I think the hardest part of maintaining an online friendship is kind of like growing with each other rather than growing apart, being aware of the changes in each other, and instead of like finding hopelessness in that, like, oh no, Oomph is like doing all these other things, or he's acting a little different, or like whatever, instead of sort of finding fear in that or anxiety in that of just like, oh my god, what if we're not the same, or like what if we don't get along anymore as well, it then becomes seeing how you guys complement each other even more, and then sort of prompting each other to grow. And so in that way you're kind of growing to as a unit rather than growing as two separate people and then just kind of like doing reconnaissance after. And so I think my biggest advice for maintaining this online friendship is just like be open to communication on a level that you haven't really had before, and be willing to grow maybe with a person over a long period of time. Because even if you think that the friendship that you have is perfect, like absolutely aces, like me and Major have been the same person for 5 years, the only reason we're able to, you know, staying this person is because we're both growing and changing as people. Where I think a lot of people get stuck is that they feel like they have to keep in line with this routine, I guess, that comes with online friendships. I feel like people feel bound by those even in their online friendships, and so as they grow as people outside of their online lives, they grow apart from each other online because they no longer deem themselves similar, I guess. They call me Mr. Long-Winded Answer.
You know, I understood what you mean, though. It's difficult because they're doing a bunch of growing that you don't know is happening unless they tell you.
Absolutely.
Like I'm not seeing you at school every day. I'm not peeking through your windows. It's
yeah.
And I am peeking through his windows.
Oh, well,
he's peeking through my windows. I'm a little scared because I'm on the 3rd floor.
It's working out though. This is how we learn Major can fly, and that's the life change they've been making.
Yeah, that's the growth I have, is that I've grown wings.
It's growth his wings.
Yes, no, that's a good answer though. I get what you mean.
It's mostly an add-on because I think this guy kind of got it. What I've experienced specifically with my friendship with Arid online is that we have to definitely specifically set aside time, like make time to hang out. We have to.
It's exhausting.
It's so tiring. We can't just like, it's not like we're in high school anymore. It's not like we have every afternoon free, you know. It's not like we can hang out every single day. Like, I work a full-time job. This guy is a full-time college student. And, you know, it's hard to make time to always hang out. And we've definitely had our moments, specifically when I started college, where we kind of grew apart and didn't hang out as much. And for a minute, it felt like we almost didn't really know each other, what was going on in each other's lives.
Yeah.
And it was hard because, like, he was still my best friend during that. It was just...
Absolutely.
We both had so much going on at once that, you know, we didn't really get all that time to hang out. And now I've learned, like, as we've worked through that and gotten older and figured out our friendship more, like, we have to make time to hang out. We have to make time to be able to spend time together so that we can continue to be the same person and finish each other's sentences and all that jazz.
And I text him literally all the time. It's even if we don't hang out every day, he's still like a little guy in my pocket because I will send him a voice message when I'm going anywhere. 5 to 20 minutes, I'm just going, hey Major, here's what happened in my day.
Don't control your friend's life. That has happened too many times with too many people.
Oh yeah.
Just in general, when talking to someone online, don't get controlling.
Generally, just like don't involve each other in drama that they don't need to be involved in. It gets really tiring and it sort of drives them away, is what I've learned.
As far as maintaining friendships, and you're both saying like don't control them, you know, like they have their own lives. Do you think there's also an extent to that which you have to take into account that you do have to adjust your schedule to maintain online friendships sometimes, especially because time zones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been finding myself like going to bed earlier because I have a bunch of friends who live overseas. And they all go to bed at like 7 p.m. my time, so
time zones get really finicky with that, to be honest. Makes it hard to schedule things.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd recommend, because I've had to do this for multiple different events of my own. Find the best in between time, which I found EST wise would be 2 p.m. EST or 3 p.m. EST. That's the best in between.
Yeah,
time.
like noon to 3 p.m. are good times.
It's harder in the weekdays.
Yeah, especially because of like school and stuff.
This one I can answer easily. Never just make it about content. I think a lot of people go into it with the like
Mm-hmm.
this friend is someone that I hang out outside of content, but I usually hang out with them in
Mhm.
content. If you wanna like really bond with someone outside of like a content perspective and become like actually good friends, then you have to make time to do stuff that isn't on camera.
Exactly, because like obviously we're both content creators. The small creator space is probably one of the most common areas people make online friendships with. And as Alex said, I think if you want like true bonds with people, because think about it, when you're a content creator, for example, a lot of it is although it does start as a hobby, it can quickly become a career. So when you meet people doing your quote unquote career, you don't want to only associate them with a job if you want like a proper friendship with someone, an actual bond. So yeah, as Alex said, it's like the same way if you made friends at a workplace, you would meet up and do stuff outside of work. You don't want everything to do with your friendship to be work oriented.
Yeah, definitely. I also think no one is 100% themselves on camera, on stream.
Oh
Definitely.
no, what?
Like to a certain degree, everyone plays up like an exaggerated persona.
I don't even have the same like I definitely don't have the same humor that I do on camera as I do off camera.
I feel like there's a lot of times, more often than not, where people will make relationships that kind of stay in the content area, and then people can seem quite almost too, I wouldn't say two-faced, but like people can seem quite fake compared to how they actually act, in good ways and bad ways. Like there could be someone who's like really hyperactive and like aggressive and like very bantery all the time on camera, but then they could be like the chillest person possible outside of content. And then it can also be like the complete opposite, like it works both ways. And I think like if you want a true friendship with someone, like get to know them outside of lights, then you'll see what they're really like and how well you actually gel together.
Yeah, it's like one of my friends, Windsweep. I've known him for ages now, and like on camera, his whole persona is like what, like killing people and being the
Oh,
villain.
I've known Blake even longer.
Yeah, and off camera, he sends me like YouTube
Yeah,
shorts.
no, he's a hilarious guy. If you get to know him, he's great.
Maintaining online friendships, I really like the point you made comparing it to like a workplace friendship, because you are going to end up with some of those as a content creator. You are going to end up with some quote unquote work friends who you only do content with. And I think it's important to understand that distinction of like, they might be completely different behind camera, and that's okay because we only talk to them on camera versus
Exactly.
the people you communicate with everywhere.
Like obviously it's not a bad thing to have work only friends, but like you should have a good balance. If there's someone that you want like a genuine friendship with, just make sure that it's not always work oriented.
What warnings do you have for making online friends?
Don't tell people anything at first. Do not share your name, address, or anything of that sort to anybody online. First and foremost, don't do it.
I just want to say, if you share your name, it won't matter if you share your address, your phone number. There's I accidentally found this, but it's so easy to just plug someone's name in online, like their whole name, and it brings up current addresses, previous addresses, schools where you've made payments to. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because I did it to myself, and I was like, all of this is accurate. So definitely don't share your name.
Name, address, anything. I don't care. Don't do it. That's just a preamble to this. Don't do it.
Yeah. Devil and I had known each other for 2 to 3 years.
Don't talk to people online. Don't make friends.
Oh my gosh. Touch grass, people. What are you guys doing?
Get outside.
Oh yeah, Devil and I had known each other for about 2 to 3 years, I think, before we even shared our names. And even then, it was like nickname. And then we started sending each other gifts, like online gifts. And it wasn't really until...
We didn't even tell each other's names at first. I think yours was an accidental thing.
Because of family, I think.
Yeah, I think it was one of your siblings. And I chose to ignore it. Because I had no reason to know your name. But I think whenever I did find out, I was just like, you know what? I don't give a shit. I know yours, you can know mine. We only shared first. That's a lot harder to track somebody or find somebody with just a first name. Don't tell people your names anyway. Just don't do it.
That is why so
Nope.
few people know my first name, because it's a very unique spelling.
I didn't know
I will admit, I used to do this thing where if someone like posted their address online, I would send them like candy and be like, "Hey,
Dude.
I have your address," and they would go through
Holy
and remove
shit.
it. And I'm like, "Be glad it was me," because like they were people. I
That's
think they were
scary
kids
as
that were just posting their
That's so
address, and I was
scary.
like, "Hey, FYI, here's a reality check."
Just an FYI, anybody could send you anything. But like,
Yeah, just a PSA. Just watch out.
it's like you don't know this person. You could have a face call with somebody and it could be fake.
Now it can be AI.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that because the AI is actually getting to the point where it's like really hard to tell if it is AI. So
I mean, I have told whenever you were coming for my wedding, I told my mom, I said, yeah, my friend from Florida that I met online's coming. And they go, how do you know they're not a 40-year-old man? And I said, I mean, we FaceTime a handful of times. And they go, that means nothing. I go, you're so fucking right.
yeah, my mom was the same way. She's like,
You're gonna get murdered in
dragged
the
to middle of
woods.
the woods. And you know what? I kind of did get sent to the woods.
For context, for my wedding, I got married in a state park. We rented a cabin at that state park, and it was in the middle of the woods.
But
It
you
just so
didn't
happens.
die, so it's
Correct.
fine.
Exactly.
If anything, I would have four very good witnesses
Yeah.
that could lie on my behalf.
Yo,
Not that I
that'd be a
would, but
crazy like slasher film.
wedding thriller.
I would say, for my personal warning, it would be just be mindful of what you share, because some people can take something that you've shared and then run with it.
I now know which one you're talking about. Got
To be
it.
fair, in a general like kind of situation, it's making sure like that you are sharing only what you feel comfortable sharing and not letting people know your address and stuff like that. There are situations where I've seen it, not only with the situation Danny and I are referring to, but other situations where people just get a little too parasocial friendship in a way. I don't even know if that's the word that I'm looking for, but it's just, yeah, some people take things that they find out and they run with them.
For context on the situation Sid is referring to, there is a guy we both talked to on an SMP, like as friends. And so I used to be public about what state I lived in. The guy remembered my state, looked at the colleges, realized which college I went to, started looking through like how much it cost. He tried to guess my dorm to me. And then because he and his friends were applying to colleges, he would tell his friends that, hey, Danny Milksop's goes to this college, you should go there too.
Yeah,
It was
that's not okay.
It was not a good. But
Yep. Lessons learned.
for me personally, if it's a friendship built on venting, it's because at the end of the day, you two might rely on each other so much, and that usually with venting, it's usually bad feelings. So you're just gonna associate bad feelings with that person. It feels like at that point less of a friend and more of a therapist, if that makes sense. But those are just from my experience personally, also, and like kind of the online world. I've never have it happened, but I've had friends where it happened to. People like want to be friends with you for like clout and stuff, or like to get into stuff, and that's just kind of
Yeah.
something to look out for.
Yeah, it's in the content creation world, it's difficult because obviously you want content creative friends, but at the same time, it's at what point is it parasocial versus friendship? At what point is it stalking versus friendship? At one point is it therapy versus friendship?
Literally. I feel like with the event community as well, like sometimes people, like Danny, you were saying, sometimes people are expecting like, oh, help me get into this or blah 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 blah. Whereas I found with our friendship, I'm the one being dragged into things.
Oh my
Yes,
god!
I will-
Yvette.
I will randomly get a text from Danny in like the middle of the day, just being like, "What are you doing this day? Can you please do this with me?" Like I've never once asked Danny to help me get into an event. It's always just, like I said, me being dragged along.
The only thing I really have to add is, hey, event owners, make it on a day since available, please, please.
Make more Sunday events, please. I beg. I'm so bored on Sundays.
Don't become friends with my friend, because that's my friend. That's your
Don't
warning.
become friends with my friend. Yeah. Stay
Just
behind
kidding.
me.
Whoa.
Get out of my head.
Don't ever say something at the same time as me ever again.
Leave the call, actually. We're not duos anymore. My warning, stay away from this guy. I'm trying to think outside of like general internet safety because this isn't a warning really I have because it was my fault. And so I would be hypocritical if I was like, don't do this. When me and Major first became friends, he did not know that I was, I think, 15 at the time.
Sorry,
And
this is a problematic one. Not exactly problematic, but slightly.
Go for it. So make sure maybe your internet best friend is not 15 years old when you're a year into the friendship, because he did not know that I was 15, and TBH, I didn't tell him. I didn't tell anybody what my age was when I first joined SMP Rogue because I was still at that kind of age where it was embarrassing to say your age on the internet. And as well it should, if you're a minor on the internet, I think it's a bad idea for you to go showcasing your age ever. Keep your private information private. Nobody asked and I didn't tell, so I was just 15. And nobody told me what their ages were, to be fair, when I got on. I think Major was 16 when we met, turning 17 very soon, though.
Yeah, we met, I was about to turn 17. No, I think I had just turned 17. I didn't figure out how old you were until you had just turned 15.
No. It was when I had just turned 16.
No, it
right?
wasn't. No,
Oh
it wasn't.
no. So excuse me, a correction for the YouTube video. I was 14 when I joined SMP Rogue. And Major is 16 turning 17, or just have turned 17. He's expressed this before and we've agreed on it. We would not be friends currently if he had known what my age was when we had met.
Yeah.
At that time, it would have been a weird age gap to start a friendship. And he had not been made aware of my age and was only made aware by accident. I'm not primed with internet safety myself. So I just send pictures all the time. I'll just send information, TBH. But I had sent him this one time. I was sent to the principal's office, but on the pass it had on like the hall pass it had my first, last name, date of birth, or something. And I had sent that picture to Major going, oh my god, I just got sent to the principal's office. And it had my date of birth on it. And he didn't say anything, like a valiant gentleman. And I literally had no idea until he told me like a week or two ago that's what he found out. Back to the question, make sure your friend is not 14. Unless
when you're 17.
When you're 17. Don't be evil to each other. Online people are still people, even if they're your friends. And you still have to like allocate time for them. You still have to like get to know them. You're not just automatically the same person. Even if you do think you've gotten on like House on Fire, if you've seen me and Major and you look to your best friend and you go, yeah, that's kind of us, doesn't mean you are. Internet safety, again, I don't subscribe to it, but it is extremely important, especially in this day and age where literally everyone is on the internet. You just like don't know who people are sometimes. So if you are going to be in a long and prosperous online friendship, know each other. Like, don't just be friends to be friends, like know each other. Because until you know each other, you don't know who's on the other side of that screen, you know? And it doesn't have to be a video call. Like, me and Major didn't see each other's faces till we met. But there was still that assurance of just like, I know he's not a serial killer because we've been calling and texting for 5 years and I've seen most of his face. And I've seen the people he hangs around with. Like, we only know each other like this because we know each other.
I think it's especially difficult sometimes in the content creator space. If you're like, oh, well, I
sure.
watch their streams, I know them. It's like, that's not how it works, actually.
Parasocial alert.
Yeah, and even if you are really friends, it's like, people can be completely different off camera than they are on camera.
And we are.
Yeah. Me too.
Like I said earlier, we're haters. My answer for this one is pretty much the same as his, kind of the same as my last one as well. First of all, internet safety. Exactly like he said, you do not know someone just because they live in your computer. Like, just because you message them sometimes does not mean you know someone. You don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't know what kind of person they are. Even though, like, my parents have heard Arid's name for 5 years now, they were still weird when I said, yeah, I'm gonna go fly to this guy's house and visit him. Especially with the internet landscape right now, it's like, you don't know who somebody is behind the computer screen. So make sure you feel completely comfortable with somebody before dropping $400 on plane tickets. And also don't lie about your age online, and don't not tell people your age after a year of being friends.
I didn't know that you didn't know. I thought I had like subliminally messaged it earlier somehow.
Just be aware, be careful, be safe. Also, like, boundaries.
Yes.
Definitely have boundaries with online friends, just like you would have boundaries with, you know, IRL friends.
Mhm.
Boundaries are incredibly important. Watching for red flags is important. Not allowing yourself to be mistreated is important. Take care of yourself. That's basically my answer, is watch your back.
The difficulty that I think comes with even responsibility that comes with maintaining an online friendship, and a healthy one at that. Even throughout all of those obstacles and like hurdles and shit, and like these changes in perspective that needed to happen, and like all of the agita, I guess, that comes with it. Major Skainsmay and my best friend with my friendship with Major has genuinely been the most fulfilling thing in my life. He is just like such a kindred spirit to me, I think. Genuinely, like, my confidant, my best friend. He's like basically a part of my family with not only just how I see him, but how much I mention him in front of like my family. He's a household name. So I do just want to say that for everyone out there, you know, having online friendships, and even if you guys are going through sort of this life transition, if one of you is going to college or one of you is getting a job for the first time, all of these things, like, you can absolutely get through it. And as difficult as it is, and sometimes as much of a grueling pain in the ass, not that it ever has been for me, which genuinely it hasn't, but even if it is like at its most difficult, online friendships can still be one of the most fulfilling, most like just like fruitful endeavors I think that you could pursue. And like all friendships, at some point it just kind of comes down to if you and the other person click as people. But yeah, Major literally means the world to me, and I don't think any number of us going to college or like us not finding time to talk to each other, or us like going through these life things privately, we've always come back stronger, and it has genuinely been the best 5 years of my life just knowing this guy. Amen. Yeah.
I do have a little bit to add just onto Arid's little spiel at the end there about how awesome I am. Even if people give you flack in real life, because I get flack all the time for my best friend being somebody who's online. Even if people give you flack, even if people tell you that online friendships aren't real friendships, they are, and they're equally as important, they're equally as meaningful. And if I died today, that one Iridium would get my estate. So
make sure they're actually the age that they say they are. Like, please.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Very much filtered version of what I was about to say.
Yeah. Also, like, if you get to know them more and they're a creep, just cut them off. It's like, before you dig yourself way deeper, cut them off. Oh god.
Yeah, that
It's
ends
so
up
much
going
easier.
to a whole rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
Not fun.
It is not.
You can definitely end up digging your own grave a little bit on that one because it's so hard. Especially in the content creation space, you have no idea how different that person is off camera.
Yeah. It's like, you meet this guy and they're really sweet, and like you start making content together, and then they turn out to be a giant fucking douchebag. So
funny story. Anyways.
no.
Anyways.
There's some personal experience.
Yeah, there's too much personal experiments.
Oh, too much.
That I don't think I could say.
It can be rough. I think making friends in the content creation space is always that you have to keep in the back of your mind that you don't know them until you know them. Because you two have met through an SMP, and I assume are still playing on SMPs together.
Yeah, we are.
That's something super scary because it's such a big group of people oftentimes that if you have an issue with someone, but maybe not necessarily everyone else does, do you have any like sort of warnings or suggestions on how to handle situations like that within a server?
Honestly, just bring it up to staff if there are like staff. usually I do the talking in those kind of situations because Ori gets a bit nervous around that kind of stuff, but it's always ended up pretty well for me. I've been lucky.
Yeah, it's really nice that you're willing to do that for Ori. I do that for people sometimes. So I'm like, oh, I'll speak up if I get in trouble. Well,
I'm really happy to have met Ori. I think they made my life a lot better. So
I guess the simplest warning you could give and advice to someone is always just like, you should always respect your own privacy no matter how close you get with someone. And I feel like you kind of have to scale it with like, how much do you know this person and how long have you known this person? And that kind of scales with like how comfortable you can be and how much you can share with them. I think the absolute worst thing you can do in an online friendship is share too much too soon. Because that a lot of the time, unfortunately, with how people can be on the internet sometimes, that can really bite you in the ass. So yeah, I think just basic internet safety, like respect your own privacy. Even if someone else is comfortable enough to overshare and is confident enough to like share quickly, you don't need to match that.
Yeah, set boundaries.
Set boundaries, like only share what you're comfortable to. Be slow and progressive with it and like scale it to how long you've known the person, because 9 times out of 10, if you've known someone like multiple years, like 4 5 years plus, like I'd say, you know, they're 9 times out of 10 going to be more safe to share that. But again, above all, just only ever do what you're most comfortable with.
I was just going to say, do you think that the setting boundaries and deciding how comfortable you are with someone extends beyond like personal information?
I think so. I think it definitely does. At the end of the day, we're all people. Everyone is comfortable with different things, and if you want to, if someone is a good friend, then they will respect whatever boundaries you set, no matter what regard it's in. Like, you can tell the type of person someone is over what they respect about you and what they don't, boundaries included. So I guess that's another like warning you could say for is like, if you set a certain boundary and for some reason someone's not okay with it, like that's an immediate red flag.
I was actually probably gonna build off of that. Boundaries are one of the most important aspects of any relationship in any form, and you have to make sure to set those in order to like keep things safe, secure, and better for everybody.
Both in friendships or not, or relationships or whatever bond you have with another person, like both of you need to be comfortable in it. It works both ways as well. You respect other people's boundaries and they'll respect yours.
Some people are, like you said, are just automatically more comfortable sharing things, and others are less comfortable. And I think sometimes that can cause rifts, so to speak, because someone would be like, oh, you know, I want to like send you this in the mail and do that. It's like, I don't want to send you my address, not because I don't trust you, but like
precisely. It's like it's like going back to content creators again. It's like there are going to be people who are perfectly fine like sharing their real name or like putting their face online, and there are going to be people who aren't. And I think it's above all, it's just most important that if you're friends with someone who is comfortable enough to do things like that, you should never feel pressured to like match that to be friends with them.
Yeah, definitely.
It's probably not a healthy relationship.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, especially if they're like trying to encourage you to do it against your will. Like if you're like set a boundary, you're like, this is where I stand on this and it's not changing, and then they're trying to like egg you on or like, you know, pressure you into it, 9 times out of 10, it's just not great.
And
I
that
mean,
goes
10 times out of 10. I don't know why I said 9.
Well, that goes both ways too. The warning could be like, don't pressure other people.
It's like, if you're someone who is comfortable to do all those things, great. Like keep being you, you know, don't let other people stop you from that if you're fine with knowing in yourself that you can do that. But don't expect other friends to kind of match you on that. It's like, I have a friend named Running. He's been faceless for like 4 years. I've known him forever. I've seen him once on video call, but like I've never asked to see him again after that. He just did it because he wanted to. I think another thing that's important to remember with online relationships in general and friendships and whatnot is just because if you don't know someone's face or their name or anything, that doesn't take away at all the connection you have with that person. You don't need to know those things to be close with them.
Yeah, I think that's something so unique about online friendships, where it's like, I have no idea what this person looks like, but I know their deepest traumas, their favorite movie, their schedule.
I mean, obviously, like the internet, like everything, has good and bad sides of it. That's definitely one of the good. I love how it allows people to meet and connect on things they have in common that like you'd never meet in person, you know?
She's getting a lot of what I was gonna say and some pretty good points. Probably better than I could have presented. I guess just again stating internet safety. Like that's huge. I think that's being weirdly enough, from what I'm seeing, I think internet safety is being lost a lot.
Mhm.
There's a whole thing I could go into about how internet safety is being lost along with like media literacy and stuff. It's there's like a bunch of connections I could make, but it's just internet safety, especially today in this age of like misinformation and whatever, is extremely important. You want to keep yourself safe on something in a place where anybody from anywhere could figure out who you are and find you. Like, you got to keep yourself safe in any way possible.
Thank you for watching, and if you ever want to be a part of one of these interview videos, make sure you're following me over on Twitter or Blue Sky, because that's where I invite people.